Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to a match reaction show. It's finished. West Ham United 3, Chelsea 1. I mean, it's a shock result in some ways, isn't it? Because Chelsea looked quite promising in the game against Liverpool, and West Ham weren't that great in their opening game as coming into this one. So you kind of felt like maybe Chelsea had a chance to get something, but it was a lethargic performance from Chelsea. I've got to say, it was lethargic. It was uninspired at times. It was a lot of there was a lot of graft. There wasn't enough craft in Chelsea's play. I think the big problem for Chelsea is the same problem that so many other teams in the league, or at least so many top teams in the league, are facing, is the lack of a striker. It's the lack of a recognized goal scorer. Because you watch Enzo Fernandez, some of the passes he puts in are so good. Sterling today had a very good first half, and some of the runs that he was making were so good. But unfortunately, there's just no one to finish them off. There's just no one to put the ball in the back of the net, and that is a problem. And I don't know, how that can be fixed. And here's another thing: the player who scored a goal today for Chelsea, Chukwuemeka, he got injured and he had to go off, and who knows how long he's going to be out for. So it is a problem for Chelsea. But take nothing away from West Ham. Today they were very clinical. They had a game plan that they executed to perfection. That first goal from Aguerd was a planned goal. It wasn't some kind of happenstance. It was a quite clear plan for Ward-Prowse. When he puts in that free kick, he puts in that free kick in the back post because he knows that's where the weak spot is. That's where the weak area is. He puts that there again with a wonderful finish, makes it 1-0, and it was a bit against the run of play. It was quite early in the game, but you almost felt like West Ham had something to hold on to. But you knew West Ham had come with a tactical game plan that they executed to perfection. Even when Chelsea got that goal, from Chukwuemeka. It was a good finish, by the way, from Chukwuemeka. And that was a period where Chelsea really had, the game by the scruff of the neck. They really could have pressed home the advantage. It's just that they couldn't capitalize on it because of the lack of a striker. Because every time Sterling, I thought, had his best half of Chelsea for Chelsea, since he's joined. And every time he kept making good runs, good passes. Yet, sometimes he was guilty himself for not being able to finish off the runs. Other times he was guilty of, not guilty, but he would pass it into a good area, but there's nobody to finish it off. And that's the problem for Chelsea. Just didn't have anyone clinical to take advantage of it. And then the penalty came for Chelsea. And that was a penalty for me. I think that's a penalty. I don't think anybody can complain that was a penalty. Maybe people might. That's a penalty. The question was whether there was encroachment from West Ham. Now, there's still no clarity on the rule about whether that was encroachment with what Soucek was doing. Based on the rules, that should be encroachment because his foot is on the line and he's clearly the first man who clears the ball. So it should be retaken. I believe that it should be retaken based on the rules, but apparently there might be some technical thing where because there's a big difference between where Enzo is and where Soucek is. It doesn't really impact the play that way. So maybe if there was another Chelsea player challenging him, then that might have been given as encroachment. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what the rules are anymore. So if anybody has clarity, do mention in the comments, of course. I would love to know that. But based on my understanding of the rules, that should have been retaken, but maybe I'm wrong. And obviously the commentators couldn't tell me either. So if you have some information, please post it in the chat. Of course, we'd love to hear from you. But that being said, the penalty was pretty crap. I mean, fair enough that Soucek, did whatever he did, but Enzo shouldn't be going there. You should be scoring that. It's a penalty with lack of conviction. I don't know how many penalties Enzo has taken or whether he takes penalties, which is kind of interesting that Enzo was the one who stepped up, because I thought you had Sterling who could have stepped up, you had Jackson who could have stepped up. Even Chilwell, I think, probably is a better penalty taker. I think the second penalty is for England in shootouts. So you've got 3 players right away that could take penalties, and who should have been the ones stepping up to take penalties. And I think you could probably even still make a case for Gallagher to take it as well instead of him. So there are players who could have taken it, and yet for some reason Enzo was the one who stepped up to take it. He lacked conviction. Like, he never looked like he was going to score. Like, he always looked like he was going to miss it, unless he found the corner. The only way he was going to score was if the keeper guessed wrong. But as long as the keeper guessed it right, he was going to save it, because his penalty was going to lack conviction, and that happens. And unfortunately, he should not have been put in the position to take a penalty. I don't think, because it seemed like a weird choice at the time when he stepped up to take the penalty. But I mean, so there are decisions, right? But if it was 2-1 at that point instead of 1-0, as well, instead of 1-1, if it was 2-1, you never know. It's a whole different game, and we'll be talking about a completely different performance. But the fact is, they missed that chance, and after that, it just became anemic. I think Chelsea's performance became a little bit anemic. The patterns kind of repeated themselves. Where Chelsea somebody would make a good pass, the ball would be cleared, somebody would make a good run, not find a player, or just run out of space or whatever. So it just kind of felt anemic. And West Ham, kind of just hung in there. And then in the second half, Antonio with an absolute strike. Chelsea actually got away with it because the pass to Antonio was on before it was made. And I think Disasi stepped in and won the ball back. And at that point, I was like, oh man, he missed on that. That's a good pass. But Disasi, for some reason, I don't know what it was. He just tracks it straight back to West Ham. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but he just tracks it straight back to West Ham. I think he thought that because he had stepped up and Antonio was behind him, he was now catching offside. So he could afford to take that risk of playing it forward, because even if it came back, Antonio would be offside. The only thing he didn't know was that Gusto was playing onside. So he was actually onside. And so now he's got to run backwards. Disasi does somehow manage to catch up to Antonio, but the ball goes through his legs. It's poor defending. It was very poor defending from Disasi, because he actually has got Antonio kind of locked in, even after he's won the ball and he's made the run, but he still kind of just gives them that gap, and Antonio just squeezes it between. It's not good defending from Disasi. He had a good game against Liverpool, but he was pretty poor today. A lot of players were poor today, but yeah, there was poor defending. Makes it 2-1, and then Chelsea get another lifeline. I mean, they had a play. Aguerd got sent off, and again, that's a red card. I mean, that's a second yellow, red card. Absolutely, I don't know what Aguerd is trying to do there. Again, it's the question is, what is he trying to do there? What is he trying to accomplish? Because it almost looks like a tackle in slow motion, where Jackson has already played the ball away, and Aguerd just goes slowly, and he tackles him anyway. So I don't know what he was thinking with that, because the moment he doesn't get the ball and he gets play, he's going to get sent off. That's what's going to happen. So for him to just go in like that and dive in like that, knowing he's on a yellow card, is just unbelievable. But it didn't matter. They were down to 10 men, but Chelsea, still didn't really carry much of a threat. And ultimately, there was a penalty for West Ham from Caicedo, and Paqueta scored it to make it 3-1. And it's a big win for West Ham. It's an absolutely massive win for them, and such a confidence boosting win as well. From Chelsea's point of view, I've got to say that Mudryk looks like absolutely shot. His confidence looks absolutely shot. I honestly think that Mudryk is so fast. He's a very fast player, but I think he's never really learned how to combine his pace and technique together. Because there's some players, right, who can be very fast, but they know how, because it's different when you're standing passes and running passes are different, right? You need to know how you need to perfect your running passes, because they're more difficult, because when you're running at pace and you have to put a cross in, there's a different kind of pressure that needs to be applied on your passing, on your crossing, on your shooting. It's different. And the more faster you are, the more careful you have to be in terms of the more precision it takes to perfect your passes. And I don't think Mudryk has ever worked on that. For whatever reason, I think Mudryk has never worked on that, or at least he hasn't worked it to the level that he needs to be at in the Premier League. And therefore, you see oftentimes his shots are scuffed. His passing, especially when he's running, he can't make the right passes because he's running so fast. And I don't think he's ever learned to control his pace with his passing. So that's the problem for him. I don't know. I mean, it is coachable. The only question is, can somebody coach him in enough time for him to actually be able to make a career out of it at Chelsea? But at the moment, it really looks like he doesn't have the confidence or belief in himself to actually do these kind of things, even simple things. I thought Caicedo looked pretty bad as well when he came on. Now, I'll quantify this by saying that unless we see Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo together, we can't really make judgments on that. And they need a few games to play together before we can start saying whether they're flops or not. I know it's very easy, and I'm sure the trolls will be out today talking about Caicedo having a bad game, giving away the penalty, 120 million pounds down the drain, whatever. All of that will be said. But the reality is, at the end of the day, that this is just his first game, and this was a very different situation to what Chelsea will normally face, because he came into the game when they were behind, and he had to kind of be part of the salvage act, which is not what his role is. His role is really to be able to be someone who's going to help Chelsea control games, not get back in it. So it's difficult to say, but he didn't have a good debut today. But that's fine. There are many great players in the world who had absolutely shocking debuts and then gone on to have great careers. So it's nothing to be too worried about right now. But what I will say is, I think the 3-4-3 will not work. If you want to play, if Chelsea want to progress forward, this formation is not going to work. It's got to be 4-3-3, because you've got three very good midfielders. You've got to play them together. And they don't have Euro of the season, so there's no excuse of rotation. Play those three together, and you just let everything else build around it. Let everything else build around it. Who's going to be the striker? Who's going to be the wingers? You build that all around. But your midfield three has got to be that. That's got to be your midfield three. That is the way forward, according to me. That's how it's got to be. But we'll see what Chelsea do. But I feel, then the only other way if you can do that is you play a 3-5-1-1 or a 3-5-2, whatever. But I don't think Chelsea like to play that way. So I think it's got to be a 4-3-3. And then or whatever formation you pick, those three have got to be your midfield three. And then you build it around it. You want to play a 3-5-2, you want to play a 3-5-1-1, you want to play 4-3-3, whatever you want to do. But that's got to be a base. I think that's what we need to see. But that being said, I think Caicedo was poor today. I think Chukwuemeka was good, but then he got injured, so that was sad. Sterling, as I said, had his best 45 minutes. Jackson, for me, it's an interesting one with Jackson because he's got a lot of enterprise. You can see that he's very different to the other strikers that Chelsea have had. The problem for Jackson is that while he has a lot of graft, again, he's not very, very clinical. He's not very effective. I think oftentimes he's not, even many times he's not in the right positions. And that is a big problem. If you're a striker, you need to know when to be in the right positions to either receive the pass, to be in the box to shoot, or to create runs for other players to have to find the space. I think Jackson doesn't have that sort of positional awareness yet. He's obviously someone who's got good finishing ability and someone who's got a lot of enterprise and a lot of work, and he's quite got a high work rate. But unless you have that awareness about where you are in the box and what your role is as a striker, I think that will be a problem. So Chelsea's point of view, that's something that needs to be worked on as well. So few question marks for Pochettino to answer, but it's only the second game and it's West Ham. It's a place where a lot of teams are going to struggle to get points from. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. He's got a lot of time to work on that and to get better and to really create something that will be hopefully something that will be really, really exciting to watch. But nonetheless, it's a loss today. Well done to West Ham. I thought James Ward-Prowse was excellent. 2 assists on debut. Obviously someone who I think deserves to be playing at this level. Too good for the championship and probably too good for Southampton last season as well. But we'll see how well he does now that he's playing in a team that's going to be challenging for Europa spots and going to be challenging for the Europa League, hopefully. That'll be interesting to see how well he does. Antonio was good too. I thought Paqueta for me, I think he's an enigma, isn't he? Because he had some good touches, but he's also play acting a lot. So I'm not sure what to make of his performance. Aguerd scored the goal and got sent off. And I haven't seen enough of Edson Alvarez to say whether he's going to be the Declan Rice replacement. So one to keep an eye on as well. Anyway, congratulations to West Ham. Well done. Great win for Chelsea. I mean, it's back to the drawing board, isn't it? Some promise was there from that game against Liverpool, but again, a lot of the problems of last season remain. So we'll have to wait and see how that gets resolved. Share your thoughts, of course, on the game. Share your comments on the players, on Chelsea's performance. Always love to hear from you, of course. And if you have any thoughts to share, please do feel free to do that. Do smash a like on this video. Smash a like for West Ham, of course. And also subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're very close to 380 subscribers. So please do subscribe so we can hit that milestone right away. So thank you so much for your support, of course. Take care. We'll see you again soon. And thank you for watching this video.